This dog used to live in a house with a loving family who gave him food and care. But one day he slipped out of his collar and never came back. Now he lives in an alley where people sometimes throw their garbage for him, but he's always hungry and has no one to call his own. He spends his days searching for food and his nights sleeping in the cold. If you want to see what happens to this sad dog, stay until the end. The dog's name is Toby, and before he became a stray, he lived with a family that loved him very much. They would take him for walks, play with him, and give him all the attention he needed. But one day, while they were playing fetch in the park, Toby got too excited and slipped out of his collar. The family looked everywhere for him, but he was nowhere to be found. They put up coasters, called his name, and even offered a reward, but it was no use. Toby was gone. Toby didn't know where he was or how he got there, but when he realized that the family he loved so much wasn't coming back for him, he felt desperate. He started to wander around, looking for food and shelter. After a few weeks, he ended up in an alley behind some shops. At first, it was scary and lonely for him, but then people started to notice him and began throwing their garbage over the fence. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep him alive. The food the people threw away wasn't always good, but Toby ate everything. He didn't have a choice. And even though it wasn't much, it kept him going. As the weeks turned into months, Toby became a fixture in the alley. People knew him by name, and some even stopped to pet him. But nobody wanted to take him in. They all had their reasons. For example, Mrs. Henderson from No. 13 said she couldn't take him because her cat wouldn't like it. Mr. Williams from No. 22 said he couldn't take him because he had a small yard. And Mr. Jones from No. 34 said he couldn't take him because he had allergies, but Toby didn't care. All he wanted was a warm place to sleep and someone to love him. But he couldn't find either of those things in the alley. He still had nightmares about being chased by cars, and the loud noises made him jump and shake. He also missed the family he used to live with, and often wondered if they were thinking of him. Sometimes he saw a family that looked like his and his tail would wag, hoping they were there to take him home, but they never were. One day, a new family moved into No. 52. They were loud and often had parties that went late into the night. Toby hated it. He preferred the quiet, even if it meant he had to sleep on an empty stomach. But one night, the noise was too much for him, and he ran away from the alley. He didn't know where he was going, but he didn't want to go back. As he was walking, he heard a woman's voice calling his name. He stopped and looked around, but he couldn't see anyone. Then he heard the voice again. "Toby, come here, boy." This time, he could see a woman waving at him from inside a house. Toby hesitated, not sure if he should go inside or not. But the woman kept calling his name, and eventually he went to her. When she saw him, she knelt down and started petting him. "Oh, you poor thing," she said. "You must be starving." She took him inside and gave him water and food. He ate and drank so much that it felt like a dream. It was the best meal he'd had in months. "Where did you come from, Toby?" the woman asked. He didn't know how to answer her, but she didn't seem to mind. She took him to the couch and gave him a blanket to sleep on. It was the most comfortable bed he'd had in a long time. And soon he was fast asleep. In the morning, he woke up, and the woman was making him a special breakfast. "You need to get your strength back," she said. "You're a good boy, Toby. I can tell by the way you look at me." She was right. He was a good boy. He had just been through a lot. After breakfast, she took him for a walk and then to the vet. "You're a healthy boy, Toby," the vet said after examining him. "And you're microchipped, which means you have a family out there looking for you." Toby wagged his tail. Maybe this was the day he'd go home. Maybe his family hadn't forgotten about him. But the vet shook his head. "I'm sorry, Toby, but your microchip isn't registered. Nobody's looking for you." Toby felt his heart sink. Was he really on his own? Did his family not want him anymore? The vet saw the sadness in Toby's eyes and patted him. Don't worry, Toby. I'm sure you'll find your forever home soon. The woman who found Toby named Sarah couldn't take him home. Her husband was allergic to dogs and her cats wouldn't accept him. But she didn't want to give him up. She visited him every day and walked him, played with him, and most importantly, gave him lots of love. One day while Sarah was playing with Toby, she noticed he wasn't his usual energetic self. He seemed tired and weak. She took him to the vet, who told her he had a broken leg. It must have happened when he was wandering around, the vet said. We need to operate and put a cast on his leg. Sarah nodded and waited patiently while the vet took care of Toby. When she got him home, she made him a comfortable bed and stayed with him all night. In the morning, she went to work, but she had someone check on Toby during the day. A week later, it was time to remove the cast, and the vet said Toby would make a full recovery. Sarah was so happy that Toby was going to be okay. She took him for walks and played with him every day. She also started taking him to dog shows. You're a natural, Toby, she told him. You should be a therapy dog. He wagged his tail. He liked helping people feel better. At the shows, Sarah met a man named John who fell in love with Toby. Can I take him home? She asked. Of course, John replied. We have plenty of room and I've always wanted a dog. So Toby went to live with Sarah, John, and their 2 cats. He was so happy. One day, John and Sarah were sitting on the couch when they heard a knock at the door. When they opened it, they couldn't believe their eyes. It was Toby's old family. Toby, is that you? They cried, and they hugged him tightly. John and Sarah were surprised, but they were happy for Toby. He was finally going home where he belonged. But Toby didn't want to go. He licked Sarah's hand and then John's. He didn't know why, but he didn't want to leave them. John and Sarah looked at each other and smiled. They knew what they had to do. Toby, you can go with them, Sarah said. We'll always love you and we'll miss you. Toby barked happily and wagged his tail. He licked them both one last time and then ran to his old family. As they were leaving, John and Sarah saw that Toby's tail was already wagging. They knew that he was happy, and that was all that mattered. Even though Toby had found his way back to his old family, he never forgot the people who saved him. He often thought of Sarah and John and the love they gave him. He knew that if he hadn't been able to go back to his family, he would be in good hands with them. The ending of this story is both happy and sad. Happy because Toby gets to go back to his family and get the life he deserves, but sad because he had to go through so much before he could be happy. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another video. See you next time. Bye.